Beloved listeners, it said that the mind is a powerful thing, capable of shaping not only our future, but the world around us. But how often do we truly stop to question the way we think about ourselves, about money, about success? What if I told you that the first step to building wealth isn't learning how to manage money, but learning how to manage your thoughts? Consider this. Every individual, every wealthy person and every person struggling in life, their paths all began with one key factor, their mindset. It's the lens through which they view the world, the filter that shapes every decision they make, and it plays a crucial role in determining whether they succeed or remain stuck. When it comes to wealth, there are two opposing mindsets, the scarcity mindset and the abundance mindset. Let's talk about these two. Most of the population operates from a mindset of scarcity. When they think about money or success, they immediately think about limitations. There's only so much to go around. They might tell themselves, if someone else succeeds, that means there's less for me. This belief fosters fear, insecurity, and competition. It creates a constant sense of lack, and this, in turn, limits their potential. This mindset manifests in subtle ways. It shows up when we say things like, I'll never be able to afford that, or that's only for rich people. It is a constant dialogue of not enough. Scarcity thinking makes people afraid of losing what they have. It keeps them from taking risks. It's why people hold onto their money so tightly, fearing that if they spend it, they won't have enough left. But the wealthy, they think differently. They understand that the world is full of infinite opportunities, and there is more than enough to go around. They don't see others' success as a threat to their own. Instead, they see it as evidence of possibility. They understand that wealth isn't a limited resource, that money doesn't run out, and that success isn't a zero-sum game. There's more than enough to go around. Rich people have an abundance mindset. They see the world as a place where opportunity is endless. They recognize that there's always room for more. They know that money is a tool, not an end goal, and this tool can be used to create more for others, to circulate energy, and to generate even greater returns. But let's pause and reflect for a moment. Where do you fall on this spectrum? Do you often find yourself thinking that there isn't enough to go around? Do you worry about money, about losing opportunities, about running out of time? Or do you see the world as a place full of possibilities, where new ventures and new opportunities are available for anyone willing to create them? The first step in building wealth isn't about how much you have. It's about how you think. When you change your mindset from scarcity to abundance, you start to notice opportunities everywhere. You stop fearing the future and begin to embrace it. Now, let me share a personal story with you. Early in my career, I remember working at a firm where I witnessed a colleague achieve something I dreamed of, a promotion I thought I deserved. Initially, I was frustrated. I felt resentment, thinking, if he gets ahead, that means there's less for me. That's the scarcity mindset at play. But one night, after sitting with my thoughts, I realized something important. His success didn't mean my failure. It didn't diminish my potential. In fact, his success could actually inspire me. If he could rise to the top, why couldn't I? It was a pivotal moment when I realized the power of an abundance mindset, that someone else's achievements were not a reflection of my limitations, but a testament to what was possible. The next day, I shifted my focus. I began to see the world not as a place where people take away from each other, but as a place of mutual growth. I stopped viewing opportunities as scarce and started creating my own. That moment, that shift, changed everything. I was no longer afraid to take risks, to invest in myself, or to offer help to others. I saw the world as overflowing with opportunities, waiting for me to tap into them. If you want to walk in the footsteps of the wealthy, this mindset shift is crucial. But it's not just about thinking differently, it's about acting differently too. When you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, your actions follow suit. You start investing in opportunities, even when they seem risky. You start collaborating with others, knowing that there's plenty of room for everyone to succeed. And most importantly, you begin to see failure not as a setback, but as a lesson, a stepping stone toward even greater success. Now, as you digest these words, ask yourself, how do I view the world? Is it full of limits, or is it full of endless possibilities? Are you willing to shift from scarcity to abundance? The richest people in the world operate from a mindset of abundance, and it's time for you to start doing the same. The concept of long-term vision is one of the most significant differentiators between those who create sustainable wealth and those who chase fleeting opportunities. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of the present moment, the rush to make money quickly, the desire to capitalize on the next trending investment, the obsession with the here and now. But the wealthy think differently. They don't just live in the present, they're constantly building for the future. Their decisions are not about what will give them an immediate return. They're about building a legacy, something that will outlast them, something that will provide long-term value for themselves, their families, and even generations to come. The world we live in today is fast-paced. With instant information, quick decisions, and constant distractions, it's easy to fall into the trap of short-term thinking. We are wired to chase immediate rewards. This is why so many people struggle with money. They make impulsive purchases, chase quick profits, and end up losing sight of the bigger picture. But the rich have learned to delay gratification. They understand the power of time. They understand that true wealth is built over decades, not years. They focus on creating systems, investments, and relationships that will grow steadily over time, like a tree that takes root and flourishes year after year. I'll tell you a story from my own experience. Early in my career, I faced a crossroads. There was an opportunity to invest in a business that offered short-term, immediate returns. On the surface, it seemed like an attractive deal. But after careful consideration, I realized something. If I invested in this venture, I would be sacrificing my long-term vision. The money I'd earn quickly would not bring the kind of value I wanted to create over the course of my life. Instead of following the quick return, I decided to focus on investments that had the potential to compound over time. It wasn't easy. It wasn't the popular choice, but it was the right one. And as the years passed, those long-term investments not only paid off, they multiplied in ways I couldn't have predicted. The rich think like this. They aren't focused on getting rich quickly. Instead, they prioritize sustained growth. They make decisions based on where they want to be in 10, 20, or even 30 years. They plant seeds today for a harvest far down the road. This long-term thinking requires patience. It requires the ability to stay focused on the bigger picture, even when the immediate world around you is filled with distractions. It's like planting a garden. If you want to grow a beautiful tree, you must first plant the seed, nurture it, and give it time to grow. You can't rush the process. You can't skip the steps. The tree must go through its stages, just as wealth must. Consider some of the wealthiest individuals in the world: Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. These are not people who built their empires overnight. They didn't make their wealth through quick trades or short-term strategies. They made their wealth by thinking long-term. They invested in companies, ideas, and innovations that they knew would take years, sometimes decades, to fully materialize. Warren Buffett, for example, is known for his philosophy of buying and holding investments for the long haul. He's not interested in jumping in and out of stocks for short-term profits. He wants to find businesses that will thrive over time and allow him to hold on to them indefinitely. This long-term vision has made him one of the richest men in the world. Now, take a moment to think about your own financial journey. Are you focused on what will pay off today? Or are you focused on what will pay off over time? Are you investing in things that will appreciate and compound over the next 10, 20, or 30 years? Or are you caught up in the urgency of immediate returns? The wealthy understand that time is the most valuable asset they have. They know that by planting the right seeds today, they can reap the rewards tomorrow. Their decisions are based on a vision that transcends the moment, that is grounded in a belief that what they do today will pay dividends for years to come. This long-term thinking is a powerful tool. It allows you to remain calm during market fluctuations, to make decisions based on strategy, not fear, and to know that wealth is something that grows slowly but steadily. If you want to join the ranks of the wealthy, it's time to start thinking long-term. Be patient. Stop chasing quick wins and focus on building something that will last. Whether it's an investment portfolio, a business, or a personal skill, plant the seed today and allow time to do its work. I want to leave you with this question. What long-term vision do you have for your wealth and your life? And more importantly, what small steps can you take today to move toward that vision? Failure? It's a word that most people fear. We're taught to avoid it at all costs, to see it as a sign of weakness, a reflection of our inadequacies. But here's the reality: failure is not something to fear. In fact, for the wealthy, failure is often viewed as a necessary part of the journey to success. It's something to learn from, not run from. You see, the wealthiest individuals don't see failure as a dead end. They don't let it define them. Instead, they see it as a lesson, an opportunity to grow, to adjust, and to become stronger. They understand that without failure, there is no progress. Let me share a story with you. Early in my career, I took a risk. It was a business venture that I was passionate about, but I knew it was also a bit of a gamble. I invested time, money, and energy into this project, believing that it would yield great returns. But the reality was far from my expectations. The venture failed miserably. At first, it was crushing. I felt defeated. I questioned my abilities, my judgment, and my worth. I wanted to give up, to walk away and never look back. But then something important happened. I realized that this failure didn't have to define me. I could either let it break me or I could learn from it. So I did what the wealthy do. I reflected. I analyzed. I asked myself, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? And that's the difference. The wealthy don't let failure be the end of the story. They don't let it stop them. Instead, they let it be the beginning of a new chapter, one that's filled with new wisdom, new strategies, and new opportunities. Take a moment and think about your own life. When you faced setbacks, what was your response? Did you allow yourself to be paralyzed by fear? Or did you take the time to reflect, learn, and grow stronger? Failure is an essential part of any successful person's journey. The most successful people fail more than anyone else. But they fail in a way that's productive. They fail forward. They use failure as a tool to grow. Every failure is a lesson in what doesn't work, and with each lesson, they get closer to discovering what does. Let's talk about how the wealthiest people view failure. For them, failure is simply feedback. It's a signal that something needs to be adjusted, tweaked, or improved. They don't let it deter them from their goals. Instead, they view each setback as a chance to reassess and improve their strategy. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He failed thousands of times before finally inventing the light bulb. Yet, when asked about his failures, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset, the ability to see failure as feedback, not defeat, is a cornerstone of the wealthy mindset. But here's the key: it's not just about failing and learning from it. It's about failing with resilience. Wealthy people know how to take a hit, bounce back, and keep moving forward with renewed vigor. They don't wallow in their mistakes. They adjust and they move forward. Now think about this. What would happen if you didn't fear failure? What if you could take risks without worrying about what might go wrong? How much more would you accomplish if you saw failure as part of your journey, not the end of the road? The richest people in the world take risks, knowing that failure is not a reflection of their abilities, but merely a part of the process. They fail, they learn, and they come back stronger. This ability to take calculated risks and not be paralyzed by fear is what sets them apart. And let's not forget that failure breeds resilience. The more you fail, the stronger you become. When you embrace failure as part of the process, you develop the mental fortitude to withstand challenges, make tough decisions, and keep going even when things get difficult. The reality is the road to success is paved with failure. It's a road that no one can avoid, but it's also a road that leads to growth, to learning, and ultimately to success. Every failure is a lesson that brings you closer to your goals. So, if you want to create wealth, start by changing your relationship with failure. Don't fear it, embrace it. Use it as an opportunity to grow, to evolve, and to keep moving forward. At this moment, ask yourself, how can I reframe failure in my own life? Can I start seeing it as feedback, as a tool to improve, rather than as something to be afraid of? If you can change the way you view failure, you'll be on your way to achieving a level of success you never thought possible. At first glance, it might seem like wealthy people should be focused entirely on keeping their money. protecting their resources, investing carefully, and building their fortunes. After all, that's the nature of financial success, right? Preserve your wealth and avoid unnecessary expenses. But in truth, the richest individuals understand something profound about wealth that grows through circulation. Wealth, when hoarded, stagnates. Wealth, when shared, multiplies. Generosity isn't just about giving money away. It's about creating an abundance of value in the world. And the most successful people understand that the more they give, whether it's their time, their knowledge, their resources, or their energy, the more it comes back to them. Let me explain this with a story. There was a point in my career where I had built some success, and I had accumulated a level of financial comfort. I had reached a place where I could afford the luxuries of life. But something was still missing. I had achieved a degree of success, yet I wasn't truly fulfilled. One day, I received an invitation to help mentor a group of young entrepreneurs who were just starting out in their businesses. These individuals had little to no resources but were hungry for knowledge. They needed guidance, advice, and a little of my time. At first, I hesitated. After all, I was busy with my own ventures, and helping them wouldn't immediately benefit me. But then I remembered something. Wealth isn't just about accumulating money. It's about creating value for others. So I made the decision to give, to share my time, my experiences, and my knowledge. I spent hours with these individuals, helping them navigate the challenges they faced. Over time, I began to see the impact my help had on their businesses. Some of them went on to become successful entrepreneurs, while others remained connected to me throughout the years. But here's the thing, that time I gave didn't just benefit them. It came back to me in ways I couldn't have predicted. Through those relationships, I built connections, learned new insights, and even discovered opportunities I never would have encountered otherwise. This is the power of generosity. It's not about expecting immediate returns. It's about creating value, building relationships, and knowing that what you put out into the world will come back to you, sometimes in unexpected and beautiful ways. And it's not just time or knowledge. The wealthiest individuals understand the importance of philanthropy, of giving back to their communities, their societies, and the causes that matter most. This is not just an act of kindness, but a strategic decision. Because the more you give, the more you cultivate goodwill, reputation, and relationships that can open doors for you down the line. Bill Gates, for example, has given away billions of dollars to philanthropic causes. And yet, despite his immense generosity, his wealth has continued to grow. Why? Because the very act of giving has built bridges for him, both in business and in society. It's not just about the money. It's about the energy of generosity, the connections it fosters, and the value it creates. Think about it. When you give, you build trust. When you give, you build goodwill. You create an energy flow that brings people together and opens doors that would otherwise remain closed. Generosity is an investment in relationships, in trust, and in opportunities. Now, let's reflect on your own life. How generous are you really? I'm not just talking about financial generosity. Are you generous with your time, with your wisdom, with your connections? When was the last time you went out of your way to help someone without expecting anything in return? It's easy to get caught up in the idea that we must hold on tightly to what we have. But the wealthy know that the key to multiplying wealth is to let it flow. And that's true for more than just money. When you share your resources, your energy, your knowledge, you create value in the world, and that value returns to you, often in ways you couldn't have imagined. Generosity also strengthens your sense of purpose. The more you give, the more you feel aligned with something greater than yourself. It moves you from a mindset of, I need more, to, I have enough to give. It helps shift the focus from self-interest to community interest. And that shift creates not only personal growth, but also the potential for even greater wealth, because you are focusing on the impact you can make, rather than just what you can gain. So I ask you, what can you give today? It doesn't have to be money. It could be your time, your knowledge, your connections. What's one way you can create more value for someone else? What energy are you putting out into the world? When you begin to give generously, you'll start to notice something magical happen. Your wealth will begin to multiply in ways you never imagined. And now, as we move forward, we will explore another important trait shared by the wealthiest individuals, the power of continuous learning. Wealthy people never stop growing. They are lifelong students of life and business, constantly seeking knowledge, refining their skills, and evolving in a world that's constantly changing. One thing remains certain: the most successful people never stop learning. They understand that knowledge is not static. The market shifts, technologies evolve, and new opportunities arise. To stay ahead, they must constantly refine their skills, expand their knowledge, and adapt to an ever-changing world. Continuous learning isn't just about acquiring new facts or skills. It's about developing a mindset of growth. A mindset that says, no matter how much I know, there's always more to learn. The wealthy understand that success is not achieved by simply reaching a point of mastery and then coasting. True wealth is built by evolving with the times, by constantly challenging yourself, and by remaining open to new ideas. Take a moment to think about some of the wealthiest individuals in the world. Warren Buffett, for instance, is renowned for his love of reading. He spends an incredible amount of time each day reading books, articles, and reports. Buffett himself has said that he spends about 80% of his day reading and thinking. This dedication to knowledge is one of the main reasons he's been able to consistently make such wise investment decisions over decades. He isn't just investing in companies, he's investing in his own understanding of the world. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, shares a similar commitment to learning. He has a habit of regularly meeting with his team to brainstorm and come up with new solutions to problems. He also emphasizes the importance of day one thinking, a mindset where you never stop being curious, where you're always innovating, and where you remain obsessed with learning. Bezos believes that one of the reasons Amazon has been so successful is because they've made learning a core part of their culture, from the top down. The wealthy have a relentless drive to expand their minds. They understand that by continuously learning, they're equipping themselves to adapt to change, to anticipate future trends, and to spot opportunities before others do. They're not content with staying where they are. They're always striving to elevate their understanding, to deepen their expertise, and to stay ahead of the curve. But this isn't just about reading books or attending seminars. Continuous learning also involves seeking out new experiences, interacting with different perspectives, and stepping outside of your comfort zone. The wealthy understand that real growth happens outside of routine. I'll give you an example from my own life. Early on, I realized that in order to get ahead, I had to learn from people who were more experienced than I was. So I made it a point to seek mentors, to surround myself with people who knew things I didn't know. I remember asking for advice from a business leader who had been in the game for decades. I was nervous, unsure of how he might respond. But instead of dismissing my questions, he welcomed my curiosity. He saw that my desire to learn was a key to my growth. And through those conversations, I gained insights that would have taken me years to discover on my own. Now, let me ask you, how much time do you dedicate to learning? I'm not just talking about formal education or attending conferences. I'm asking about how much time you spend each day or week expanding your understanding of the world, of business, of yourself. Are you open to new ideas, even if they challenge your current beliefs? Are you constantly looking for ways to expand your knowledge? The truth is, in today's world, knowledge is the greatest asset you can possess. The more you learn, the more valuable you become. The more you learn, the more you can spot opportunities that others might miss. And the more you learn, the more resilient you become to the inevitable ups and downs of life and business. But here's the key: the wealthiest individuals understand that learning is a lifelong pursuit. It's not a sprint, but a marathon. They don't stop once they've reached a certain level of success. In fact, they view success as a starting point for more learning. They stay curious, humble, and willing to adapt because they understand that true wealth comes not from what you know today, but from the knowledge and insights you'll gain tomorrow. Take a moment to reflect. What's one area of your life where you could start learning more? Whether it's finance, personal development, or even a new hobby, the act of learning will push you toward growth. The moment you stop learning, you stop evolving. And the moment you stop evolving, you stop growing. The wealthy never stop seeking knowledge because they understand that in an changing world, the ability to adapt, learn, and grow is what keeps them at the top. And you can do the same. As we continue, we'll talk about the importance of patience and how the wealthiest individuals know that true wealth is not created overnight. It's a long journey, one that requires steady, consistent action, even when you don't see immediate results. In a society driven by instant gratification, it's easy to forget one of the most essential ingredients to creating lasting wealth: patience. The wealthy understand that wealth is not built overnight. It takes time, years, even decades, to cultivate. Yet many people who aspire to wealth want it immediately. They want the quick fix, the fast track, the shortcut to success. They want it now. But here's the hard truth: true wealth takes time. It's built steadily, not rushed. Wealth is created through small, consistent actions taken over a long period. It's the result of making the right decisions day after day, year after year, even when the results are not immediately visible. Think about the most successful investors and entrepreneurs. People like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos did not get to where they are by chasing after quick profits. They achieved success through patience. They made long-term decisions, took calculated risks, and understood that the real benefits of those decisions would unfold over time. Take Warren Buffett, for instance. He's often quoted as saying, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." What does this mean? It means that wealth is not won by those who seek immediate returns, but by those who are willing to wait for their investments to mature. Buffett doesn't look for quick gains or short-term success. He invests in businesses with the understanding that it may take years or even decades for those investments to truly pay off. Elon Musk's journey with Tesla is another great example. Early on, many investors doubted the company. They were impatient and they wanted immediate results. But Musk understood that the future of electric cars would require time, innovation, and resources. He wasn't concerned with the quarterly profit reports or the immediate market reactions. He had a vision, and he knew it would take time to realize that vision. Today, Tesla is one of the most valuable companies in the world, and Musk's patience has paid off. But here's where things get tricky. Patience doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. Patience is not about waiting for things to happen. It's about waiting with purpose. It's about taking consistent, smart actions even when the results are slow to materialize. The wealthy understand that wealth doesn't just appear. You must build it, and building takes time. In my own journey, I've encountered many moments where patience was the most challenging aspect. When I started out, I wanted results. I wanted them quickly. But the reality of business, of investing, and of wealth building is that it requires discipline and time. There were times when I thought, is this ever going to work? When things weren't going as planned. But I kept going. I understood that growth is not linear, that there are ups and downs, and that success comes to those who remain committed for the long haul. Let's reflect for a moment. How much patience do you have with your financial goals? Are you willing to put in the time and effort, knowing that results may not come right away? Or are you constantly looking for shortcuts, trying to rush the process? One of the most important things I've learned over the years is that wealth isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And it's not just about being patient, it's about being persistent. The wealthy know that the results of their decisions won't be immediate. They know that they have to put in the work, day after day, and trust that the results will come. Let me ask you this: are you playing the long game? When you make financial decisions, are you thinking about where you want to be in 5, 10, or 20 years? Or are you thinking about how to get rich quickly? Remember that wealth is not a sprint. It's a slow and steady accumulation of good decisions, compounded over time. This is where many people go wrong. They get frustrated by the slow pace of their financial journey and jump into high-risk investments or impulsive decisions that they think will give them a quick return. But what happens? They burn through their money. They lose sight of their long-term goals. They let impatience dictate their actions, and ultimately, that impatience leads to failure. The wealthy, on the other hand, have a vision. They see the bigger picture. They understand that the greatest rewards come to those who are willing to wait, who are patient, but who are also committed to consistent, thoughtful action. Think about this for a moment. What would it look like if you practiced patience with your own wealth building journey? What if you focused on long-term goals and resisted the temptation to chase after quick returns? What if you took steady, consistent steps every day, knowing that each one brought you closer to your ultimate goal? Patience is not about doing nothing. It's about taking action, but doing so with the understanding that the results will come in their own time. It's about remaining calm in the face of setbacks, staying the course, and trusting that, with time, all your efforts will bear fruit. As we move forward, we will explore one final element in our discussion: self-mastery, how the wealthiest individuals maintain control over their emotions, actions, and decisions, even in the face of adversity. Mastering yourself is the ultimate key to achieving lasting success. Thank you for your continued commitment. Now, let's delve into the final principle that the wealthiest individuals master: self-mastery. This is the key to long-term success and wealth, and it's something that cannot be overlooked. In fact, without self-mastery, all the other principles we've discussed, from patience to generosity, from long-term vision to resilience, would not be sustainable. Self-mastery is the glue that holds it all together. The ability to control yourself, to manage your emotions, your impulses, and your actions is what separates those who accumulate wealth from those who merely chase it. Wealth is not just a matter of external opportunities. It's about how you manage your inner world. It's about controlling your thoughts, your reactions, and your decisions, even when life, business, and emotions get turbulent. The wealthy have an extraordinary ability to stay calm under pressure, to make clear-headed decisions even in the midst of uncertainty. This ability to control their reactions, to not be swept away by fear, greed, or impatience is the hallmark of true success. Let me illustrate with a story from my own experience. There was a time in my career when everything seemed to be falling apart. A major investment I had made was rapidly losing value, and it seemed like there was no way out. The markets were volatile and fear was spreading. People around me were panicking. But in that moment, I had to take a step back. I had to breathe. I had to ask myself, what is the best decision right now? At that moment, I realized that the best course of action wasn't to react impulsively. The best thing I could do was to stay calm, evaluate the situation rationally, and stick to my long-term vision. So I made the decision to stay the course. I didn't sell out of fear. I didn't try to chase a quick fix. Instead, I took a step back and let the situation play out. Over time, the market corrected itself, and the investment not only recovered but went on to grow significantly. What I learned from that experience is this: the ability to control your emotions and actions in the face of fear, uncertainty, and pressure is what makes you successful. The wealthy don't allow their emotions to dictate their decisions. They don't let fear or greed control them. They have learned to master themselves, and in doing so, they control their financial destiny. This is where self-mastery becomes paramount. It's not just about being patient when things are slow. It's about having the discipline to stay committed to your vision, even when everything around you seems chaotic. It's about having the emotional intelligence to understand when your feelings are clouding your judgment, and the wisdom to step back and make clear decisions. Self-mastery also involves avoiding distractions. The wealthy know that their time is their most precious asset. They protect it fiercely. They don't waste time on things that don't align with their long-term vision. This is why they are so focused, because they understand that every decision they make, every action they take, should serve their ultimate goals. But this self-mastery isn't something that happens overnight. It's developed through practice. The wealthy spend years, even decades, working on themselves. They read books, attend seminars, seek mentors, and meditate on their decisions. They actively train their minds to stay focused, to remain disciplined, and to resist the urge for instant gratification. I remember one of the most difficult moments in my life, a time when I had to make a major decision that could impact my future. But the pressure was immense. Everyone around me had their own opinions. There were countless distractions. People were urging me to make a quick decision. But deep down, I knew that I had to take a moment to reflect, to center myself, and to make the decision that was right for me. That's when I truly understood the power of self-mastery. I realized that wealth isn't just about having money. It's about having the control to make decisions from a place of clarity and wisdom. Not fear, not impulse, not emotional reactions. Let me ask you this: how well do you control your emotions, your reactions, and your impulses? Are you able to stay calm in moments of uncertainty? Or do you find yourself making impulsive decisions based on fear or excitement? Do you have the discipline to stay focused on your long-term vision, or do you get distracted by immediate pleasures or obstacles? Self-mastery is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. When you learn to control your mind, your actions, and your emotions, you take control of your destiny. You become the master of your own fate, the captain of your own ship, no matter the storm that may come your way. This brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, understanding that all of these principles, patience, generosity, long-term thinking, failure, learning, and self-mastery, work together to create a life of abundance and wealth. Wealth is not just about accumulating money. It's about creating a life of purpose, of value, of impact. It's about mastering the art of making decisions from a place of clarity and wisdom, and understanding that true success comes not from how much you have, but from what you give and how you live. Wealth is not just for the few. It's for anyone who is willing to change their mindset, to practice self-discipline, to stay patient, and to embrace the journey. So, as we come to the end of this exploration, I want you to reflect on your own journey. What mindset do you need to shift in your life to start building wealth? What habits can you start today to master yourself, to think long-term, to embrace failure, and to give generously? Remember, wealth is a journey, not a destination. It's not about getting rich quickly. It's about creating value, building for the long haul, learning continuously, and mastering yourself along the way. And now, I'll leave you with one final question to reflect on. What does true wealth look like for you? And how will you start building it today? Thank you for your patience and your dedication to this journey. We've explored the mindset, habits, and principles that set the wealthy apart, and now we arrive at the most profound truth of all, the final conclusion that ties everything together. True wealth is not just about money. It's about mastering the inner game of life. It's about becoming the best version of yourself and using your time, energy, and resources to create a meaningful life. It's about living with purpose, making decisions that are aligned with your values, and understanding that wealth, in its truest sense, is a byproduct of the life you've built. When you understand the principles we've discussed, patience, generosity, continuous learning, resilience in the face of failure, self-mastery, you unlock the ability to create a life that is not only financially abundant, but also rich in meaning, in purpose, and in fulfillment. This is what the richest people in the world have realized. They understand that true success isn't about having more. It's about being more disciplined, being more generous, being more resilient, being more focused on the long-term vision rather than the immediate distractions. And in that pursuit of becoming the best version of themselves, they create financial success that goes beyond money. It touches lives, it creates impact, it inspires. Take a moment to reflect on where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. The path to wealth is not easy, but it is simple. Start with a vision. Stay focused. Be patient. Learn from your failures. Stay generous, not just with your money, but with your time and energy. And most importantly, master yourself. The wealth you seek is not outside of you. It is within you, waiting to be unleashed through your choices and actions. I want you to leave today with this thought. You already have everything you need to begin your journey toward true wealth. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect circumstances. The time to act is now. The person you become on this journey will be the greatest wealth of all. And as you move forward, remember this: wealth is not a destination. It's not a final goal. It's the result of a life well lived, of decisions made with integrity, of purpose, and of giving value to the world. You have the power to create that life. Start today. So as you stand at the edge of your future, ask yourself, what kind of wealth do I want to build? And who do I need to become to build it? The journey may be long, but it is worth every step. Patience, generosity, self-mastery, and the wisdom to learn and grow. All of these will lead you to a place of abundance, not just in your bank account, but in your heart, your mind, and your spirit. Remember, true wealth is about building a life that is rich in purpose, value, and impact. It's about mastering yourself, learning from your failures, and consistently working toward your long-term vision. You have the power to create that life. The rest of the world may tell you to chase money, but you, beloved dreamer, know that the true path to wealth is not through chasing money. It is through creating value, building relationships, and growing yourself in the process. Keep going, stay true to your purpose, and always remember the best is yet to come. Thank you for walking with me on this journey. May you find peace, abundance, and success on your path. You are capable of creating the life you've always dreamed of. The journey has only just begun. This concludes the exploration of how the wealthiest people think and live. If you feel the call to continue this journey, to further refine your mindset and build a life of true wealth, I invite you to reflect on these lessons and take action. Let me leave you with a final thought. Success is not for the few, it is for those who are willing to work for it. Stay patient, and most importantly, stay true to themselves. Take care, and may your path be filled with clarity, purpose, and abundant wealth.